A woman's inner beauty is always almost dependent upon her relationship with God. Eugene Price. Our topic for today is a woman who watched over the conscience of a servant of God. Our case study is Abigail. Abigail was a woman who was humble enough to listen to the advice of a servant. She was highly spiritual, attractive, intelligent, and wise. Abigail's husband was descendant of a great man, Caleb, but he in no way resembled his forefather, who had excelled in the fear of God, insight, and courage. Nabal, whose name meant the fool, had foolishly insulted the region's most powerful man, and this time his folly jeopardized his entire household. Susan here, the Extra Ed channel. Welcome to Wow Wednesday. Wow, woman of worth, you are worth it, and your worth is far above rubies. Abigail, her name means my father is joy. What was her character? She was generous, witty, and wise. She is one of the Bible's greatest peacemakers. What was her sorrow? To have been mismarked in marriage to her first husband, and her joy that God used her to save lives, eventually making her the wife of David. The key scripture is 1 Samuel 25. Her story begins with a dilemma. How does she handle an arrogant man, Nabal, who was her husband, and an angry man, David, the king in waiting? David had taken refuge from Saul and was in Nabal's neighborhood. He watched over Nabal's livestock, and Nabal's flock prospered as a result. David sent 10 of his men to ask Nabal for provision, but Nabal's response was, "Who is David?" And he displayed arrogance, greed, and selfishness. In response, David swore to wipe away every male in Nabal's household with his 400 men. A wise servant, aware of the danger, quickly ran to Abigail, begging her to intervene. What can we learn from Abigail's response? Number one, the power of communication. Abigail had the tongue of a ready speaker to glue together the pieces her husband had broken. Her attitude was both tactful and impressive. She had enough character and courage to face David's anger and to ask for forgiveness. Number two, she had protocol and diplomacy. Abigail's attitude, as well as her words, impressed David. Abigail, seeing David, quickly dismounted. She bowed low before him out of respect. The future king of Israel and a servant of God who had been ignored by her husband as an unworthy person had received her honor. Number three, it is said that a gift makes room for the giver and brings him in the presence of great men. The present she sent ahead had softened David's heart and cooled off his fury. Her appearance and her words could now do the rest. Number four, she put David to remembrance of the favor that she enjoyed with God and the special protection he was experiencing. She drew his attention to the privilege of the future awaiting him under the blessed hand of God as Israel's future king. Number five, she used her feminine energy and charm. Abigail used her energy to awaken David's consciousness. Her appeal was based on God's character and sovereign power, disarmed David, and he remembered that vengeance belongs to God. Wow, woman! Abigail was God-centered. She put God first in her thoughts and exemplified him in everything. She saw things in light of the plans God had laid out for David. After Nabal's demise, David took Abigail as a wife. It was God and not Abigail or David who paid Nabal back for his arrogance and greed. Wow, woman! Gracious word can save lives, but an ungoverned tongue can destroy a generation. In conclusion, wow, woman! It's not the easiest of times, but the hardest that can bring out the best in people. Abigail had not wallowed in self-pity. She was a wise woman, a wife, a woman in full excellence. She acted quickly and swiftly. She didn't remain in fear. Maybe your story is different from Abigail's, but you can rise above your circumstances. Wow, woman, your worth is far above rubies. Put your mind on a VIP mode. It's your red carpet moment. Fix your crown. Don't settle for less. Don't settle for safe. Get up, get over it, and walk worthy. Remember, your purpose is your superpower.